Hello there, everyone, and welcome to something a little bit different. Now, I've had this YouTube channel for unsettlingly close to 6 years now, and in that time, I've only ever really used it as an archive of sorts for my Twitch VODs, which, was all well and good when I started, but between how the content creation space and my own desires and ambitions as a creator have changed in all that time, I felt like it was high time that I just adjust my approach a little bit and give you all a proper introduction to who I am and what I do. Now, you already know that my name is The Gaming Author, and you've probably gathered by the content that I posted here that I'm a variety streamer, one who focuses more on narrative based games. But what about the author half of that name? What have I got going on there? Well, the truth is that that half of my name is recovering from some pretty extreme burnout. Because when you combine imposter syndrome with perfectionism and a sort of, shall we say, neurodivergent impatience, oh boy, do you have a recipe for some weapons grade burnout. But then a little game called Baldur's Gate 3 came out, and I realized about halfway through my first attempt at playing through it that there is actually a damn near perfect solution to the problems that I've been struggling with as an author. Because, you see, the imposter syndrome that I'd been feeling, that was a direct result of my calling myself the gaming author for almost 8 years now, but with no books or other publicly available writing to actually back it up. And that lack of publicly available writing was the direct result of my getting constantly tag teamed by both my perfectionism and the impatience that I mentioned earlier. Because if I'm going to release an original work out into the world, it'd damn well better be the best possible work that I could make it. But what if it didn't have to be a wholly original work? What if, hear me out here, what if I could do for my Baldur's Gate 3 characters what I've already been doing for my tabletop D&D characters? Write fully fleshed out backstories for them. Because the game itself tells you straight up that your party members already had storied careers as warlocks, wizards, and warriors themselves. And Will specifically says outright that getting infected with the parasite has weakened him dramatically. So, with all that taken into account, what's to stop my Tav from having a backstory just as fleshed out and exciting as his, or Karlach's, or Gale's, or anyone else's? The answer there is not a goddamn thing. So, what's going on with the other half of my name? What's going on is that I am finally giving myself permission to just relax, to take things a little less seriously, and actually be a little bit of an impatient chaos gremlin who just shotguns his stories out onto the internet without obsessing over every single little minute detail. And what better way to do that than by writing out the full, in depth backstories that already exist in my head for all of the different Baldur's Gate 3 playthroughs that I want to do? The first of which is going to be a three-part short story entitled A Soul of Scarlet Flame. It's the backstory for Zardion, my red dragonborn monk, who has dedicated himself to mastering the Way of the Four Elements at the Silverlight Monastery. But when even his best efforts still fail to meet the impossible standards set by the monastery's Grand Master, Zardion must decide if becoming the perfect monk is more important to him than being true to himself and honoring the spirit of his late mother. Part 1 of this story has already been posted on Archive of Our Own, and while I write parts 2 and 3, I'll be streaming both Assassin's Creed Odyssey to work out the absolutely massive level of hype I feel for Assassin's Creed Shadows, and the very old school 1994 shooter from Bungie, Marathon. Now, if that sounds like an extremely odd combination of video games to stream, Blame that on the fact that Marathon 2 was actually the very first video game that I can even remember being exposed to. And with the first game's recent re release on Steam, I couldn't help but dive straight into not only reliving those memories, but for the first time, actually getting to play those games myself. So, if you want to see how all of this unfolds, live and in color, then by all means, hop on over to my Twitch channel where I go live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at noon Pacific time. And on the other hand, if you're content to wait here for the VODs, I am going to be doing my absolute best to get those uploaded and published every Monday and Friday at the same time. So, with all of that said and layout, I hope y'all have a good day. Links to both A Soul of Scarlet Flame and my Twitch channel will be down in the description, and I'll see you around.